Guys, I just got back from Disneyland, which I kind of mentioned in my last video, and oh my gosh, I forgot how much fun Disneyland is. I got to go on Space Mountain again, and I got stuck on Space Mountain. If you guys follow me on Snapchat, then you know I did, and it was pretty cool because I like turned on all the lights and everything, and you hop out of the little cars, and I was kind of okay being stuck on it because they transformed it into like Ghoul Galaxy or Ghost Galaxy for Halloween now, and that is a scary ride. It's like everything is screaming at you and it's pitch black, and it goes so fast, and it's just a little bit scary. I had an amazing time there with my family, and it was so great to go on a vacation before my brother went back to school. And if you guys have been to Disneyland recently, let me know in the comments below what kind of rides you went on and what your favorite ride was, because for me, oh my goodness, the new Cars Land is so cute, and I love the Radiator Springs Racing, something like that. I also really like the Luigi ride where all the cars like sing and dance and everything. If you haven't been to Disneyland, this all makes like zero sense to you, but it's basically like the Cars Land looks just like the movie Cars, and it is so cool. When I saw it, I almost had a stroke. It was just like so overwhelming, and it brought back so many memories, and I don't know. Do you think I can live there? Probably not. That's okay, I have Eclairs here. Hey guys, it's Rachel, and today we are making these adorable Hello Kitty eclairs. I love how eclairs are actually really easy to make because they're really simple ingredients, the process is super easy, but they look super fancy in the end. I guess they could look fancy if you didn't turn them into like Hello Kitty, but now they look more cute than fancy, which I'm okay with. I guess it just like sounds like a fancy dessert is what I'm kind of trying to say, but they look awesome, and I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks I learned on how to make very perfect eclairs. I read a whole blog post on eclairs, so I'm just feeling like an expert now. But I'll link the blog post I read down in the description box below. It was a really cool post. She details all the steps of making eclairs and how to make them perfectly smooth and crispy and hollow on the inside and everything. And the funny thing about eclairs is that you know you've made a good eclair when it's just like hollow, which you would think is kind of disappointing, right? Like you open it up and it's like, well, I've baked a shell. But that's actually what's supposed to happen. I guess because, you know, you're gonna fill it with yummy things, and they're even better when they look like Hello Kitty. Anyway, so if you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so because I post 2 new videos every week. And without further ado, let's get started. First off, in a large sauce pot, you'll need a ½ cup of milk. Then you want to add in a ½ cup of water, along with a stick of butter, and you can see I've just cut it into some smaller pieces so it melts down faster. You're also going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, and then just bring that to a boil. You might have to be a little bit patient with it, but just keep kind of poking it around and making sure that everything gets incorporated. I know it's kind of hard to tell that mine is boiling right here, but I promise you it is boiling. So I went ahead and took that off the heat, and then I added in a cup of flour. And just go ahead and mix that through. It's gonna look a little bit weird at first and kind of pasty and generally not edible, but just keep mixing it through and you'll see it forms kind of like a ball. Then you're just going to return this to the heat for about another 2 to 3 minutes or so, just to kind of dry it out a little bit more. It's not going to be that exciting, so don't expect anything to really happen to it, you're just drying it out a little bit. Now you want to add this to a stand mixer. You can muscle this through by hand, but I promise you guys a stand mixer is going to be so much easier. It also helps to have your stand mixer, you know, plugged in, so I went ahead and did that. You guys would honestly be surprised how many times I forget to plug in my stand mixer. Anyways though, I just mixed that a few times to get it to cool down a little bit before we add in our eggs. And now I'm just adding in 4 eggs one at a time. This is the part where a stand mixer definitely comes in handy. Mixing this stuff through by hand is surprisingly hard. I'm also a pretty weak person, but I still think that using a stand mixer comes in handy no matter what. Now let's talk about how to pipe out the eclairs. A round tip? No thank you. You want to make sure you use a French tip for this. It has a lot of little spikes in it and fine teeth, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but using a tip with a lot of fine spikes in it actually makes for a more evenly baked eclair in the end. If you use a round tip, you're more likely to get one big crack down the center, which you definitely don't want. Alright, now let's just fill up our piping bag. And by the way, if you don't have a French tip, you can always run the tines of a fork over your eclairs before you bake them, just to kind of mimic the lines. So you're just going to pipe these out on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. The general technique is to just slowly pipe out an eclair, about maybe 3 inches in length, and then just pull up your piping bag at the end. The goal is to make that little spike at the end as small as possible, otherwise it's going to interfere with the round shape of your eclair. Then you're just going to bake those off at 350 for about 40 minutes. You really don't want to underbake them. If you underbake them, the shell is going to collapse and it won't be hollow, so you can't add any filling, and who wants an eclair without filling anyways? And speaking of filling, let's go ahead and make the filling while the eclairs bake. So you'll just need 2 packages of pudding mix to start off. And don't freak out, I know this isn't a true pastry cream, but it's really good, you guys. You don't have to tell anyone that you used pudding mix for it, and honestly, I wouldn't tell you to make it if it didn't taste amazing, and it's so much easier. So I've just added in a cup of milk, along with 2 cups of cold heavy cream, and then just mix that all through. You can see it's already starting to thicken and get nice and beautiful and smooth. Once that's all combined, you're going to cover it with plastic wrap. Make sure you push the plastic wrap to the surface of the pudding. This just prevents any kind of pudding skin from forming. And pop that off into the fridge until you're ready to use it. And now our eclairs are out of the oven and they look beautiful. You can see they are going to have some ridges along the top, but it's not like one big crack down the center. And I did find a way to make this one crack, which sounds like I interrogated it, but you know what I mean. Once your eclairs have cooled down, we can go ahead and fill them up. For some reason, to me, this part is really fun, but you're just going to grab your piping bag full of pastry cream and then just kind of nudge it into the eclair. Then you want to fill it up until it gets heavier and nice and plump. Or until it starts coming out the other side, which did happen to me sometimes. Now let's get to decorating. We're starting off with Hello Kitty, and we're going to make the ears first. Just grab yourself a marshmallow and then cut it along a diagonal. And you can always grease your kitchen scissors first if you find that it's sticking. And then cut this little shape in half. I don't really know how to describe that shape. It's kind of like a little boat, like a canoe kind of, I don't know. And then repeat so that each marshmallow gives you 4 ears. Now let's get to dipping our eclairs. I'm going to be using some Candy Quick today. You guys know I love Candy Quick. I love how right when you melt it down, the consistency is perfect for dipping. So we're starting off with Hello Kitty. I'm just going to dip my eclair right on in, rock it around to get it nice and coated, and then shake off the excess. And that is looking perfect. You can always do a second dip if you want to, but I find that they usually don't need it. You're also going to repeat with chocolate. And then to color your Candy Quick, you can just use some oil-based food color. Oil-based is not the same thing as gel food color, and I'll link the set of oil-based food colors that I have in the description box below. For Hello Kitty, we're going to stick on our marshmallow ears first. And they're marshmallows, so you know they're pretty sticky. So just pop those on. Then add on 2 heart sprinkles end to end for the bow. Now use some yellow candy melts for the nose, and some chocolate candy melts for the eyes. After that, I popped on some white sprinkles for a little bit of shine in the eyes. And then I added on the whiskers with some chocolate candy melts. And that's all there is to it. Now let's make Bats Maru, also known as Grumpy Mohawk Penguin. Maybe that's just me, but for the eyes, you're just going to flatten out an oval of fondant, and then cut this in half. Then you want to pop these onto a chocolate dipped eclair. You can always use candy melts too to stick these on. Now add on the pupil with some chocolate candy melts. And then use yellow candy melts for the little beak. You're basically creating a V shape. And this one is very simple, that's all there is to it. Now let's make My Melody. You're going to start off by making the face with a little oval of fondant. Make this nice and thin, nobody wants a big mouthful of fondant. Then add on the nose with some yellow candy melts. A little smile with chocolate candy melts. And then finish off the eyes with more chocolate candy melts. Cute! Now for one of my favorite characters, we're going to make Keroppi. He's so cute, he looks like he works in like a charming movie theater or something. Anyways though, you can see I just added on those eyes with some white chocolate wafers. Then for the pupils, you're going to use some chocolate candy melts. Then of course he's smiling. His smile is kind of like a little V shape. Next up, you're going to add on the cheeks with some round pink sprinkles. I like to place them on first and then attach them on with candy melts. You can see how handy candy melts are. And that's all there is to it for Keroppi. Now we're going to make Choco Cat. You're going to use some fondant circles for the eyes, or white M&Ms if you can find them. For the pupils, you're going to use more chocolate candy melts. And then the nose is just a lighter brown. Then the ears are just some Hershey's Kisses. And I just dip them in some chocolate to get them to stick. I promise they look more like ears from the side view. From the top, they look kind of like little hats or something. I don't know, it looks kind of weird, but see? That looks better. And it'll look even more like ears once we add on the yellow part for the ears. So I'm just using some yellow candy melts for this. And that is your Choco Cat. And then finally we're going to make Pom Pom Purin. For the hat, you want to use another Hershey Kiss dipped in chocolate. And then the rest of the features are just chocolate candy quick. So add on a triangle for the nose, a little smile, some eyes, and some ears. Just all the senses. Alright, that's looking super cute. And that's it. Alright guys, our eclairs are finished now and these look super cute. I love all the different colors and they're just so adorable. I've always had a soft spot for Hello Kitty and I'm actually a big fan of the Keroppi one. He's so cute. He's got his big eyes and everything. And I will eat him soon. Anyways though, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so because I post 2 new videos every week. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at kawaiisweetwearld. And then check out my website at kawaiisweetworld.com. I'll talk to you guys all very soon. Bye guys!